We'll quickly run through some of the earlier sentences before we catch the thread and proceed further. We have to keep on doing it again and again because the passage is very terse. One of the reasons why he is not describing everything in detail, so to say, everything is in detail but in a different manner, as in the case of a prose writing or a kind of a logical sequence. He says that this is mystic poetry. You have to be alert to the nuances, and there are rapid changes from one idea to the other idea. So you have to be very receptive, very particular about that thing. You have to be kind of alert to these changes, and many times you have to assume that there are many things in between what is not said to get the kind of connection. He says, I am not writing a thesis, I am not writing an essay, I am writing poetry. And as far as poetry is concerned, you have to feel it, you have to move along the entire method of its presentation itself, you see. So there are rapid, arrived, see, until now, all these 13 sentences what we had, rather I will say 11 sentences. The first 2 sentences are stating the problem of Savitri. What exactly? That the mind of, the gods are not awake, the mind of night is obstructing the passage of the divine event, and that has got to be overcome. So that is the problem stated in the first 2 sentences. The other 11 sentences are establishing what is the difficulty, why the divine event is not able to move forward. The entire background is kind of traced, the process of involution, and why night's mind is obstructing the whole process. Now, so that is the difficulty of involution in the first 11 sentences. Now from here onward you have evolution and something which is coming from above, intervention from above, you see, arrive from the other side of boundlessness. See, he is talking about the first nothingness, last nothingness. Last nothingness is described. Now the first nothingness, that is the other side of the boundlessness, you see. And I, your deity, pierce to the dumb deep. What is here? Dumb, mute, unexpressed, which is not manifested. Dumb in the sense which is not spoken itself, which is not manifested. A scout of an I, your deity, which is also a scout in reconnaissance from the sun. Now this is a kind of a supplementary messenger or being who is coming and surveying the entire scene, what is here around, you see. It seemed amid a heavy cosmic rest, the torpor of a sick and weary world. Well, torpor of a sick and weary world is what we have in the previous 11 sentences. To seek for the spirit, soul and desolate, to fallen, to recollect, forgotten bliss. It is looking for the spirit which has fallen, which has taken this position, you see. Now, then in the intervene, see here it says it seemed. Actually, as we shall see again, there are in these first few sentences, there are it seemed, as if, 4 times, 5 times it appears. Shivandu says that this phraseology does not mean that it is vague. It gives you a kind of a poetic flexibility to express things. It is not because of the vagueness. It seems does not mean that he is not sure of it. It does not mean that he is not sure of it. It is there. But by putting that thing in that English language, it gives you a sort of flexibility to express the idea in his own manner. Intervening in a mindless universe. Now, so until now it is all mindless. Means you can even say that there was matter, of course, there was inconscience, there was matter. Inconscience was teased to awake ignorance. Life has come into existence, a kind of a sentience has come, but still there is not awareness. It is mindless. Or you can say in the more occult language, the Manomaya Purusha, the mental being, has not arrived yet in the entire development. Its message crept through the reluctant hush, again reluctant hush, the inability of the blind force to move forward. She says, no, let me go away, this is not going to help, and that kind of a thing. So it was reluctant, calling the adventure of consciousness and crime, consciousness and joy. So who is intervening? That I, or deity, the Divya Chakshu, the God's heavenly eye. It is that which is, and what is it doing? It is calling the adventure of consciousness and joy. It means that it is the sign of the arrival of the avatar. So basically what we are having here now is first the arrival of the new avatar. After the arrival of the new avatar will come Savitri. It is this avatar who will come first, and then will come Savitri. That we shall say as we proceed further. So this is basically, and conquering nature's disillusioned breast, compelled renewed consent to see and feel. Who can compel nature? Savitri is not going to compel nature. It is the avatar who is going to compel nature. He is going to be the lord of matter, of nature, of life. He is the lord of life, Ashwapati. He is going to compel nature. Come on, you cannot give up. You have to mend your ways. You have to change your things. You have to be ready for new development. So compel, that compulsion comes only because of the insistence of the avatar, his presence there. Consent to see and feel. She must feel. The transformation, the insistence, the will to change, that is the divine will. That is the will of the avatar, you see. And therefore, in the mindless space, a thought was sown in the unsounded void. The arrival, the early beginning of the mental being, a sense again, manas, that is also sense, mind, was born within the darkness of the devil. Until now it was not there at all, you see. A memory quivered in the heart of time with the arrival of man. There is a recognition that what are we here for? That is the memory. What are we here for? That is the quiver. As if, you see again, as I said, here it is, as if. It seemed as if. There are three as ifs in the entire sequence of these passages. As if a soul long dead were moved to live. A soul long dead. As I told you, soul is used in a different sense in English language. Soul means something which is there, inactive. Basically here, which is not operative in the sense. Long dead. Soul is never dead otherwise. True soul is never dead, you see. Therefore he says as if. As if also gives a kind of a flexibility to that, you see. Soul long dead were moved to live, because there was nothing happening, it was all dead, inert, tamasic, nothing was happening. No. But the oblivion that succeeds the fall, the divine has fallen, he has forgotten himself, that is the oblivion. That is the oblivion. Had blotted the crowded tablets of the past, but the oblivion that succeeds the fall had blotted the crowded tablets of the past, and all that was destroyed must be rebuilt. All that was done earlier in the previous cycles, that has to be labored out again, and old experience labored out once more. Who is going to labor out that experience? Who is going to labor out that experience? Certainly not Savitri. It is a divine avatar. He has to come down here and labor out that experience once more. So this is the description of the avatar's presence, of coming and renewing the past, preparing the past for the future. But the oblivion, the successive fall, had blotted the crowded tablets of the path, and all that was destroyed must be rebuilt. This is exactly the work of the avatar, not Savitri's work. Savitri's work is different. Savitri's work will come in the context of the removal of the obstacle in the passage of the divine event. Savitri's work is concerned with the mind of night, with the passage of light. Had blotted the crowded tablets of the palm, and all that is destroyed must be rebuilt. And old experience labored out once more. It has been happening, it had happened earlier in the cycles, and it has become. Who is going to labor out that work, that experience? Again, it is the avatar's work. Who else can do that thing? Avatar. You see. So he has to take the entire burden of the past, work out the whole thing, and take them forward, carry things forward, you see. Once more, and old experience, you see, he has already experienced that thing, it has gone through the whole cycle, but then things were not able to move, it had to be restarted. But again, the avatar kind of speedily gathers up all those experiences, capitalizes on them, and takes them forward. You see. And old experience lived out once more. And then, of course, the famous line, all can be done if the God touch is there. See. Now, although it is God Himself who has come here, yet because He has come here, because He has assumed His conditions, He also seeks the help of God. He has taken the birth in these conditions here, he has assumed, identified himself totally with the situation here, and therefore there has to be a kind of grace, constant intervention from above. You see, all can be done with the God. Now we use this line, as I said, very casually, but it only means that if this reluctance of nature, the difficulty of the somnambulist force, the sleepwalker, she is the sleepwalker, and the inconscient being who is lying there, that can be awakened only if the God touch is there. Means, in the world, he has come here, yet he has to bring down that force of God, that light of God into operation here and wake him up, make the inconscient being live to what he should do, and the somnambulist force move on the path of light. It is he who has to do. That can happen only if that comes down. He has to bring it down. In other words, all can be done if the God touch is there. It is this God touch which will be worked out by him, and it is that which will be given the full effect by the arrival of the divine Shakti herself, Savitri. God touch will be Savitri's coming here. It is she who will do all that, whatever is going to be done. Actually, when does the God touch work? There are conditions to be fulfilled in the case of we individuals. Here it is different, but in the case of we individuals, there is a condition for the God touch to work. It does not work by itself. That God touch, it demands certain conditions for it to work. That if the God touch, that if means that it demands certain kind of a preparation for it to operate, for it to work. There has to be the unfailing aspiration that comes from below. For the God touch to work, unfailing aspiration that comes from below. And there has to be the supreme grace that answers from above. only when these two are coming together, the aspiration from below and the response from above, then only the God touch can become effective. So there is a very big, if there, I mean there is a very big condition there. God does not mean that all right, this is dark, you come and press a button and it is light. It doesn't happen that way. There has to be a constant aspiration from below, and there has to be the answering response, grace from above. Then only the God touch can become operative here, you see. All can be done. That is the necessary condition. But the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of the light and the truth. See, that is the big if. The answering response will come in the conditions of the light and the truth, not in the darkness, not in the falsehood, because then it will defeat its own purpose. It will defeat its own purpose. There has to be the necessary light, there has to be necessary truth here, then only the God touch will work. But the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of the light and the truth. There must be total, sincere surrender. There must be opening for the power to work. If this is granted, if this is possible, then only the God touch will operate. Otherwise, no. Total surrender in the case of the individual. Here also, you have to prepare the earth to receive the supreme response, and she should be fully open, not in the conditions of light, of falsehood and darkness, you see. Yeah.
But here we are speaking about the beginning
Yeah.
of the manifestation.
That is why I said, in the case of we individuals.
Who is aspiring here?
So when we talk, when we say all can be done if the God is there, we talk loosely. We don't understand that for us, these are the conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understood what you say. It's for us, the
Yes.
manifested being. But in this
Here
paragraph,
all can be done. Nobody is there, that's right.
So
Yeah.
who is aspiring?
Now, but then it means that he has to prepare the necessary conditions required for the God touch to operate.
Who
He who is coming, that avatar. He has to prepare the necessary base. Adhar, Bhumi is required for that. It is his work. In other words, this implies the job, the task which is there for him for things to move forward. He has to prepare the conditions for that thing to happen, for the God touch to work. Well, assuming that is done, then you can say a hope stole in that hardly dare to be amid, nice, forlorn, indifferent. Well, this was the whole thing. Resistance, apathy. Forget about it. Why should I go? That kind of thing was there. The childlike finger teased, was placed on the mother's cheek. She was said, no, mother, you can't give up and all that thing. So that reluctance was there all the while. Amid, nice, forlorn, indifferent. So, because he has given the assurance that the God touch can be there, and if the God touch is there, then a hope can steal in, can slip by, you see. Steal in. It does not walk straight away like that. It finds some kind of a hidden passage and makes its entry here, you see.